Capricorns, my darlings, this is for you, okay? I've got to be honest. The moment I pulled up and I saw it was a Capricorn reading, my energy sank. The channel immediately opened and I felt flat and I felt defeated and I felt low and I felt tired. It's interesting because this week I decided to let my clairvoyance lead the readings. Every single reading I've just come here and I said, go on divine, let me align to the collective. So pulling up to Capricorn energy was a real slap in the face because I'm low and I'm tired and I'm drained and I'm still working and I'm still dreaming and I'm still manifesting and I'm still believing. But yeah, I feel blocked. You may actually be blocked. You may actually be avoiding something here. I want to talk about avoidance, but I want to talk about avoiding the inner work that's needed. I will say that there is a real lack of spiritual awakening and enlightenment. Like, there's no cards here that talk to me at all about your spiritual journey, your spiritual deliverance. Like, I don't want you to take this in a harsh way, but let me know how you feel in the comments. But God is an anchor. God will be the cowboy with the lasso ready to pull you up to the Most High. God can be like Wonder Woman with her golden whip and wrap you in that whip with all of that extra tight squeeze to give you a hanged man awakening moment, like the hangman card in tarot. I'm talking to a Capricorn collective who are very much in need of that spiritual nourishment. Somebody needs to be squeezed and mollycoddled a little bit and wrapped in a blanket. Like, now I'm getting shown a baby being swaddled, yeah? Like, somebody needs to be really, really wrapped in cotton wool and swaddled a little bit, because we're talking about somebody who's just tired, and it suggests that there's some inner child healing that hasn't gone on. It suggests that there's serious avoidance in the conversation today. I'm not going to denounce avoidance because I feel like it's really present. I feel like it's got to the point where if we don't speak avoidance, then we just don't speak. So this reading is going to talk about what on earth is blocked in your reality and what on earth you've been avoiding and why it's so significant for you to acknowledge it now so you can have wish fulfillment and a chance at a better life, a better year, a better week, a better month, a better day. Yeah? And some of you are spiritual, but I want to say you're tapped out from your gifts, or your gifts have been turned down. Your gifts have been really radioactive, maybe turn up. You're not hearing them properly. You're not filtering through your vision clearly, or your mind. Like, I get a clairvoyant who has got their radio dial on the wrong frequency. Instead of being tuned into the right radio station, you're just playing static. Shh. You could be hearing static, you could be hearing noises, you can be getting sounds and information that you can't quite interpret. And you could just be feeling low and irritated. You may also have a headache, heavy eyes, heavy mind, hearing problems. I get tinnitus in this reading. Not active, I actually suffer with tinnitus. It is actually a symptom of clairsentient gifted. If you've got strong clairsenses and you're a channel for the other side, they will often use tinnitus to contact you. It's the way in which you will hear ringing in your ears. Your ears might sound like a classic AOL dial-up. I can't even do it. I'm so embarrassing. I'm so embarrassed. I just tried to do that. But, you know, if there's a specific old school internet dial-up sound, you will hear that shit in your ears. You will hear shh. You will hear clicking, cracking. Very interesting studies that I will share on hermitology.me in the future related to alienism and psychosis, the brain, psychic versus psychosis, empath versus narcissism. We talk about the polarities of existence and mental health, light and dark, and that all stems from a spectrum of diversity that's not governed, not controlled, not well enough explained, not studied, leaves us feeling lack and feeling less and being confused about how we operate, yeah? So much about our functioning that isn't explained, yeah? So don't worry if you've got concerns in regards to your spiritual gifts. We're going to get clear on them today. But you are definitely in an energy of exhaustion, an energy of fed upness, an energy of tired, an energy of woe is me, yeah? That I get that in two ways, because you could be feeling really low and defeated, and that's showing up in your day-to-day life and in relationships with others, or you could be just defeated internally and not showing it on the outside. Either way, there's an imbalance because someone's overly, oh, my life's ruined, oh, my life's shit, oh, I hate life. And they're moving around with their shoulders shrugged, oh, why am I here, I hate this world. That's one vibration. The other vibration is, life is great, I'm doing great, everything's fine, it's going to be fine, I've got to go here and I've got to do this and I've got to do this and I've got to do that, and that's happening now and that's happening now and that's next week and that's tomorrow. Let's go everybody, move, 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 up, down, left, right, square 1, 5, 2, 9B, A, out the door, in the taxi, up the road, to the left. And there is no moment to register the fact that you are actually, life, you know? So it's about the balance between the two. We're talking polarity, and I love talking polarity. Even more love talking polarity when it isn't connected to poor mental health. You could be concerned about your mental health, and you could be going back and forth about whether or not you are bipolar or not, or have a mental health illness. I would like you to understand that the world is made up of a lot of different people. And although clinical professionals and hospital and institution will label you with mental health or imply you're mentally unsound, or people will say this is normal and this is atypical, the world doesn't really know. We're all philosophers, we're all studying, we're all researching, yeah? Clairvoyance isn't in the DSM-5 TR, which is the book that governs mental health globally, basically. It's the United States that leads on that book, but we all use it. The United Kingdom do use it anyway, and clairvoyance isn't in it. Shamanism is seen as a pseudo belief system that isn't real. Clairvoyance and mediums are seen as having some kind of disorder, but they're real. So we've got to be able to remove ourselves from a certain degree to a narrative that would imply however you live and whatever you believe in is wrong, sickness or ill, because that's what benefits institution. Since witches were being burnt at the stake, it became really important to make witches appear to be sick. Confirmation there. Because if witches are sick, no one's going to want to be a witch. If mediums aren't real, no one's going to want to be a medium. If shamanism is just a compliant phase of psychosis, then no one's going to lean towards the psychotic break, which is great for a stabilised, muggleized humanity. We love a muggle here on Earth. For the muggle makes sure that the tax and inflation is right. The muggle is predictable. The muggle will use public transport. The muggle will show up for work on time. The muggle is needed for Earth to run smoothly. So we need manuals like the DSM-5 to make sure muggle behaviours are standardised. But what about the non-muggle? What about the clairvoyant intuitive reader? What about the tarot belief? If you believe in tarot, if you believe in magic, if you believe in the other side, if you believe in hallucination as really clairvoyant vision, clinically you have some kind of illness or disorder. Simple as that. If in the past being gay was a mental illness, being lesbian, mental illness. Today, non-binary, mental illness. Transgender, mental illness. We're all sick, supposedly. If we do not function how the institution and the government want us to behave, then we are indeed sick. Because if the government were to act like we weren't sick and our behaviours were okay, more people would do it. And if we had more people being gay, we would have less people giving birth. And if less people give birth, less children will be born and the planet would collapse. So gay people are sick. Gay people need to go to jail. That's how the narrative started at the beginning of time. Spread it through the lesbian, spread it through the trans and non-binary community too. Witches are incredibly powerful. If they use their gifts, they could topple an institution. They could reveal classified information. They could pull people that are in the highest positions in institution from their seats. They could change the world. They must be deemed evil, sick, ill. They must be stoned, drowned, imprisoned, executed, for that is what is best for humanity to sustain its muggle ratio of success. That is an important conversation today for my Capricorn, because it appears that where you are at in your life has become the muggle status quo that you have been programmed to, because you know you can survive in this flow state, in this energy. This chi that you're exuding right now is perfectly aligned to what the institution want and need from you. The reason you're feeling low, this is the lowest reading I've done in regards to how I'm talking. I'm so chill. I'm so slow. If you're taking drugs, if you're taking prescribed drugs, you may be taking too much. If you're taking prescribed drugs, especially antidepressants, I think you have got into a rut of taking it, and I think it's numbing all of your receptors and your ability to receive or be motivated to do anything. When I was at my lowest and really grieving and struggling and going through a lot of inner stuff, I was on antidepressants for low mood, and only after being on it for a good lengthy window of time did I realize that my life was so much more unproductive, because what the drug does is it feeds that low mood with a slower pace of existence, and it encourages your brain to just do less, be less productive, have less of an output. I would like someone to tell me otherwise, that taking a antidepressant made your life better and it speeded you up and it made you faster and more proactive and you are working harder and doing more things and more motivated day to day, because that could be true in some instances, right? There's loads of different case studies. But for me, and whoever I'm connecting with, if you're on antidepressants or any kind of drugs, for me, it just numbs what you've already been going through. But now there's a void inside of you. Yeah? I'm connecting with someone who has a large void energetically, and numbing it through medication was the only way to cope. I don't regret going on medication for the time at which I did. I couldn't cope. I was incredibly low. I was grieving 3 family members. My life had crumbled to the floor. I was also homeless. Even when I stopped being homeless, I still referred to myself as homeless for 2 years, because it's the transition and the worry of going back to homelessness. Not even being in homelessness recovery is also a really lengthy window, because although I've suddenly got walls up around me, I've got to build my life from nothing again, and that takes time. I need a new routine. I need to get the house done. I need to be aware of who's coming in and who am I letting into my space now? Who am I now in this new environment? How's that going to relate to my career, my work? There's so many layers. It's really exhausting, okay? Now, in relation to the cards, 8 of Pentacles with the 9 of Cups out first, and it's talking to me about this wish that you have. And you've been working on it for a really, really long time. And you've been in hermit mode, hermit card in the back of the mind, 7 of Pentacles in the front of the mind. You've been working incredibly hard on this. You've been really, really patient. You're doing really, really well. But the main issue for you now, and why I think this reading's here for you today, is because you are trapped in this, the Moon card in the past and the 4 of Cups in the future. There's this blocked energy. You're blocked from source. You're blocked from divine. If you had clairvoyance gifts and abilities and they're not working now, they're blocked because of the medication that you're on, the mood that you're in. The job that you have could be sucking you dry. If you're working overtime, you're doing double shifts, or you've recently changed your career and you thought this was going to be the career of your dreams. This could even be the career of your dreams, but you're just working around the clock and you haven't adjusted to it yet. It's talking to me about the parts of you that you don't show. Yeah? It's your whole, like, I'm getting mixed messages. Stay with me. I want to say so much in such a short window of time. With the Moon here, there's so much that is concealed, so much emotions that you haven't revealed, so much purpose and power that you have that can't be activated, that hasn't risen yet. And that is tethered to something else from the divine. I want to say you're seeking revelation, you're seeking awakening. Like I said at the beginning, God can't lasso you. Yeah, like in my head, you need a lasso from God. You need Wonder Woman to whip you up into a frenzy, but you haven't got either of those things. And that is because there's something I just wanted to say yurt, and I've got the vision of a yurt in my head. If you have the ability to have more like steamed baths at your house, and have like some kind of eucalyptus oil, like I use Vicks sometimes, and like Albus oil, and I'll put it in the bath, and it's like eucalyptus or lemongrass. You need some essential oils, and you need a humidifier, and you need like salt baths and candlelit baths, dim lights. You need a hot steamy bath, or you need to go to a spa, the baths, whatever you call it. Go to the a place where you can go into the steam room and the sauna and have a really nice bath window of time. And I'm not getting sauna as much as I'm getting, some of you sauna, yes, but I'm getting that steam and that heat your body needs. Your body needs a purge. You also need to maybe do a water fast or drink excessive amount of water for a 24-hour window. Just go have a whole day of just drinking water. Just don't stop drinking water. Any opportunity you've got, just keep drinking water, and you'll be pissing around the clock. But for some reason, your body's trying to cycle whatever this is. If you're not taking drugs, but you still got drugs in your system from last week or something like that, that water's going to help rid that toxins. You need to get something out of your system. Maybe, yeah, I keep getting drugs, but I keep getting drugs that you're on. I am no professional, and I am not guiding anybody that I do not know through a general reading to stop taking drugs, especially antidepressants. You need to be helped to be weaned off those kind of drugs and slowly reduce the amount, and that takes a good few weeks to wean yourself off medication. So maybe go and speak to a professional about that. Once again, professionals are not great. You need to know what you want. So speak to yourself about that, because you are the professional of you first. Look in the mirror and ask yourself, what am I doing here? And what do I want? Because it looks like somebody whose gifts and abilities is suppressed by medication, and your gifts with God are reduced, like your relationship with God and your connection to spirit is reduced because of this, so you need to come off the medication. But I'm not advising that, because it's really important to stay on your medication when you are suffering with depression and you're going through it, or you're on medication for specific things. I am no professional is the point. I am not giving you advice on that and directing you to do anything, but I'm showing you, if that is you, there's significance here. If this isn't medication related, then I want to tell you this, okay? This was one of the hardest parts of my journey. It happened about 2 years ago. And it was the most revealing thing for me in a long time during that window of time, if that makes sense. I was really, really isolated, working on quantum mechanics, equation physics, field engineering, diving into equation that I didn't really understand, that was really, really hard for me. I'm really new to quantum mechanics and physics and algebra and engineering, and I never foresaw that to be my life. I dreamed about it. In vision I saw it. I love Einstein. I love the world I'm in. I could cry telling you this. It means so much to me. But coming from a spiritual realm and coming from a really poor education and hardly any GCSEs at school level, I didn't think I had the capacity to even be this way now. When I really dived into it, because I felt guided by spirit, I was diving into all of the formula. And during that window of time, I lost my connection with God. I lost my connection with Jesus. And I was really, really lost in relation to spirit. I stopped doing mediumship, stopped doing tarot, was focused on the business hermitology.me, link in the description. You can go over there and see the thousands of things I do and everything I'm building. That's just not even half of what's coming for me and what I'm building in my life. It's so crazy to just kind of let yourself go and fall into the divine and build and dream and believe and create the life that you really want. Since 2016, Jesus awakened me to the spiritual path, and he has always been my leading guide, and he has loved me so deeply, and he talks to me, he shows up to me, like spirits show up to me, like my grandparents show up to me. Jesus shows up to me. He talks to me all the time. He was the first spirit I saw who awakened me into my journey and told me to quit my job. And then I quit my job, started tarot. He said, I've got a better life for you. Quit your job. This isn't for you. You're sick, you're drained, you're unhappy, you're deeply depressive. We're leaving. And that day I ripped my notice in, walked out and never went back. And now I have hermitology.me, But 2 years ago, when I was going through that biggest awakening into the quantum realm and accepting that physics and formula and equation was the way, but furthermore, my own unique style of physics, formula and equation was the way, I didn't have Jesus show up to me. Jesus wasn't around. Jesus wasn't in the popping up in the middle of the day in my tarot readings. Jesus was nowhere in sight. And that was really hard for me. Not only that, the physics, the formula, the code, my awareness of reality, the Stephen Hawkins in me, and the string theory and all the nerdy stuff that I could say right now, but I'm not, because I'm going to lose you all because you're like, what the fuck is that? But all this stuff about the cosmos and the universe that I only looked at from a spiritual standpoint through astrology, I now knew through science, molecular sciences and quantum mechanics. And God wasn't there. I realized 2 years ago that God doesn't exist in the cosmos. Jesus is earth-based. No, it's not God, sorry, Jesus. Jesus doesn't hang around in the stars. Brahman does. Kali Ma does. The zodiacs do. Different energies do, but Jesus wasn't there. So for a while, when I was doing quantum mechanics, I was grieving Jesus is the point. I had a void is my point. I'm telling you this story because the moon in your energy and the 4 of cups in your energy, that was me when I didn't have Jesus. He wasn't available to me. And I tell you that because I spoke to my friend. I reconnected with an old friend during that window of time. I was really, really lost, and I thought I need to clear all the old energy from my past. There's something lingering, and any relationship that was kind of open and in the air, and I just felt the need to kind of repair and heal everything that was remotely unclear or unclassified. Do you get what I mean? I needed to know. I needed people to know who I am, where I stand with them, what I had been through. I wanted people to hear from me. I wanted people to get my narrative and know who I was now, especially knowing that there was a lot of talk and noise around who I had become and what I was doing and how I was living now. Let me let you all into my life and let me see where we stand and if we're meant to be with each other moving forward, or just to clear the air. Yeah, I was hoping that I would have all this love and support. I didn't. But one friend who just consistently just happened to always be that consistent energy, she was there for me, and she was immediately came and prayed for me straight away when I told her what I was going through. I didn't tell her that I had lost God. I wouldn't say that to anyone. It was a weird thing to say. But I told her just where I was at in life, and the moment that we connected, she was like, let us pray. And just to hear her say, let us pray, I started crying, sobbing my eyes out. And it was only in the moment that she said, let us pray, did I then realise I had been lost without Jesus for such a long time. And that's when I started crying, and that's when I told her about the quantum mechanics and physics and formula and everything I've been doing, that Jesus hasn't been around and I hadn't seen him. And it was only then that I had that revelation. She's the one that brought that to my attention, and I sobbed my eyes out, and we prayed, and she was there for me, and it was a really beautiful healing experience. And since then, it awakened me to reevaluate my relationship with spirit. Where Christianity sat in my life, where Hinduism sat in my life, where the deities, the divine, tarot, astrology, mediumship, where it all sat in my life. And I've just had a long narrative with you before this about shamanism and witches and the LGBTQ. Where does all of that sit in your life? Where does all of this sit in your life? Am I now that awakening for you? Like my friend was the awakening for me? Because I didn't even know that God wasn't present. When she said, let us pray, I was like, oh my gosh. And then I felt privileged and so grateful that I knew her, and her role in my life was just so consciously significant in that moment. And people don't always stay in our lives forever. Everyone comes and goes for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. But in that moment, I felt so grateful that prayer was available and that someone in my life was willing to immediately pray. And I forgot what it was like to have someone in my life who immediately would go to prayer and pull on scripture. And then it reminded me of who I've become and how far away I am from scripture, yet how close I am to iconophysics. And now I've got to find the yin and yang between that and balance that energy out within me. And then I had to go and do a hell of a lot more inner work because I was still unhealed. And that's the difference as well. I want to say you can't cling to relationships. In many instances, when you're down and out and low, some of us will run into that relationship and go, oh my gosh, please pray for me, and pray for me tomorrow, and pray for me next week, and now I need to lean on you all the time. No. Once you get lassoed and you get wrapped in the golden lasso, whatever it's called, and Wonder Woman whips you into shape, they've got to leave again. And you've got to learn to function again on your own. Independence is incredibly important. So 4 of Cups here is why I say that, because it looks like you're expecting someone else to give you the light source you need the light you need. You are the light of your own life. You have to find that. People come into your life for a reason and activate you. This reading hopefully is that activation you need. But that's not always going to be a constant, because the only constant here is you. So how can you constantly be enough for you? How can you constantly meet your own needs? Six of Wands, Two of Pentacles, Queen of Swords, Nine of Wands. Your victories currently seem to be really, really short-lived. Your money that comes in immediately goes right back out. There's no profit, there's no bonuses, there's no excess. You could be acting like you're winning and you're successful and you're well off and you're not. You could have a lot of people supporting you in all you do. You could be working 2 jobs at this time just to make ends meet. But the most dominant thing here is the fact that you can't look people dead in the face sometimes should be a sign that you're not completely okay with you. And that should be a moment where you intervene and act on yourself, have a strategy or approach, bring awareness to the fact that you can't look someone in the face right now. Because I'm looking at the Queen of Swords sideways and it's giving me flashbacks when I was on the medication and when I was at my lowest, and I just don't want to make eye contact. Because I don't really want you to really look into my eyes, because God forbid you see what really exists behind my eyes. Because who I am and what I'm going through and how I'm really feeling is dark and it isn't nice and it's shrouded in the moon, and I don't want you to see me like this. Yeah? Which is okay. The moment we say that out loud and we own that that is a narrative for us, obviously this is a general reading, it's not going to resonate with everyone. Don't take what doesn't resonate. Take what resonates, leave what don't. But if the truth of the matter really is, I can't look at myself in the mirror, I can't look at other people in the face, I'm avoiding eye contact, then we have a problem. And the first step of dealing with that is going, whoa, I'm struggling with looking people in the face right now. I'm putting a barrier up from what the most important thing is in a connection, and that is eye contact. That is letting people see me. I don't want to be seen right now. And then if you're exuding, I don't want to be seen, guess what you're attracting? Please don't see me. Every time you say, I don't want to be seen, you're saying, please don't see me. And the universe is saying, nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. And every time you get hit with the nothing to see here vibration, you feel low and sad because you want someone to see you. But in that same breath, you're refusing to be seen. Do you see the awful paradox that now begins to spin out? Because we're working through stuff. And we're shrouded in the moon and the Four of Cups, and we can't quite get out of this right now. And then we're incredibly busy working, potentially 2 jobs or more. But you still need to be seen. And you are still working on your wish. There's no doubt that you are an incredible manifester. But right now things are hard, money's tight, and your mental health isn't the strongest it's ever been. And you have built up an incredible resistance to the world. And to the world really seeing you, the way you look, the way you laugh. I think there's a lot of people that actually do miss you as well. Like miss your smile, miss your laughter, miss your humour. Even those people that are around you, if you're showing up and you're exuding none of those qualities that you used to have, when you go out and you meet up with people, there's a lot of sadness that isn't spoken. because of the fact that you are not showing up with your full face. Yeah, really, really hidden. Give me someone who goes on TV and does an interview wearing sunglasses. It gives me people that wear COVID masks when there's no need to wear a mask. Do you get what I mean? It gives me someone who's always evading showing their full self. And there's no judgment from me here. I'm a hermit. I'm talking to you directly like this for my own sanity, because it's a clearer channel and there's no distraction, and I don't need to see into your life any more than I do. And the more you see me, the more I see you. And remember, you're not the only one watching this, so it's fine for you to see me on the screen looking all cute. Ew! Hermitologist looking cute in a cute little outfit. Lovely. But then I see you too, which you don't know. But I do. And then the ESP picks up, the remote viewing picks up. And it's not just you, it's anyone who watches this. Right now we have 1 view, 2 view, 3 views. If we are lucky, we may push a 9 view. Woohoo! But when we do get the channel picking up heat, we're going to get a lot of views, and I'm going to get a lot of energy. And it's going to be a lot for me to receive. So I've got to make sure I'm doing it right. And this is a gift. A blessing. This is spirit. This is God. This isn't a joke for me. The disclaimer on this channel says this is not for entertainment purposes. And that's obviously even more of a joke, because every single tarot reader on the platform goes, this is only for entertainment purposes. No, it's not. It's fucking real. We know it. But once again, we're going to get burnt at the stake. We're going to get told we're mentally ill if we have these belief systems. We're going to get shunned. We're not allowed. You know? So it comes down to us to own who we are and stand in the light and scream for the Lord to hear us. Scream out, cry out for help, and you will get it. The friend I reached out to, I hadn't spoken in ages. And I left things with her on a really sticky note. I hadn't spoken to her in years. She sent me flowers and a card and loved on me so much after my dad died. And I told her, I love you so much, but I'm going to need space to grieve and heal. And she respected that. She was actually the only person in my life who didn't try after that point and respected that and let me grow. And it felt nice to go back and have that conversation with her. And after that, I lost another family member. After that, I was homeless again. Well, I was floating homeless, so still struggling with homelessness. And it took me a long time to get myself together and repair that relationship. You know, I felt like that relationship needed repairing. I feel like we're talking quite lengthy about repairing relationships here too. So if there's a need for that in any relationship, I get someone who might need to repair a relationship with their mother. Yeah. I said that there was childhood trauma here that we didn't tap into. So I would go over to her 7D consciousness and check out the trauma recovery over there. Oh God, guys, I say that loosely. My trauma recovery on her 7D is intense. My child abuse healing, also intense. And my loop this for 7 nights, water subliminal healing, fucking intense. Really difficult. And then my first go of publicly sharing some of my deeper immersive visualizations. But we will do more therapies like that. If you are really in need, give it a go. But it will stir up and awaken and trigger all parts of your internals that haven't been dealt with yet. So if you're like, fuck it, I just need to rattle myself and get whatever these fucking problems are out of me, and I want to get off these meds, I would definitely go down that route. But knowing that you could have a week or two of really low vibrational side effects before you start to bounce back. Trauma's no joke. Healing is no joke. The spiritual journey is not easy, yeah? Going into your psyche and digging around and pulling out the darker sides of life and owning what you've been through and reliving trauma in memory or in thought or in conversation is really intensive, yeah? So you've got to be willing to do that. So I'll recommend it, but I'll say disclaimers are all over that content for a reason, okay? But you do need a challenge, and you do need to let your guards down. And if it's not me, then go to see John Moyer, go to see Jason Stevenson, go to see Union in Minds or Thomas Hall. I can't believe channel name changes back and forth. I can't remember if it's Thomas Hall or Unions in the Mind or Union of Mind, something like that. But it used to be called Thomas Hall. It still comes up if you type that in. And they're my leading channels. If you need a story or a book, I would recommend Brian Weiss. Brian Weiss, Weiss spelled Weiss. He is my favourite hypnotist ever. And a lot of my work on her 7D consciousness is inspired by his works. And I am very young and desire to spend the rest of my life building up a portfolio like Brian Weiss has. He has had some of the most amazing immersive, submersive, hypnotic experiences. And he's got some amazing books out and amazing content from yonkers ago, where I think he's been on Oprah and he's done some experiments that he's actually filmed that are actually on YouTube. So you can dive into some of the stuff he does. And yeah, that's really good for your consciousness and mind, and where the Hermitologist is going, where hermitology.me, the school department and well-being is going, and where her 7D consciousness is going in time as well. We're going to do a lot more immersive mental health stuff, so the conversations we have today can be healed a lot quickly through mind activities. Yeah, I hope that finds you well, guys. That was a really lengthy piece today, but I felt like it was needed. And we made it. Yeah? So applaud yourself and thank yourself today if you made it through the 41 minutes and 24 seconds we've just been through together. Pat yourself on the back, because at least you had a consciousness shift today and you decided to listen to what on earth was going on with you. And whether you did or didn't resonate, or you took a little bit, we all learn something, didn't we? We all had a moment to reflect. And even when you don't resonate with the content, at least you get to go, do I agree? Is that me? Is that not me? And that's why we're here. It's meant to be mindful. Yeah? This experience with me isn't just about that resonates, that's my life, that doesn't resonate, that makes no sense, that's not me. It's about being mindful, yeah? It's about mindfulness. Because you're allowed to reflect in the now moment about what is and isn't going on with you. That's what tarot should be, instead of all the palaver and drama it brings. Let it just be an experience where we learn and understand who we are and what we're doing. Yeah? And I really do hope that finds you well, and I'll be back soon with more. If you want more Capricorn readings, you're going to have to show up. You're going to have to hit like. You're going to have to subscribe. You're going to have to give me the views. Because I'm just going with the divine now. I'm not following an order. I'm not doing it every single week. Whatever Zodiac is presenting from the divine, I will do. And whatever Zodiac is presented from the viewer and the collective, showing me that they are benefiting and enjoying this, will do. Otherwise, it will just be what it will be. Que sera, sera. And I'll be back soon with more. Love and light. Check out the other channels.